The biggest L you can take as a Muslim is to not pray your 5 salah. I wholeheartedly believe that. So this video is going to be a no judgment, no nonsense guide to praying salah. It's no mystery. Salah is one of the probably the most important activity that you perform as a Muslim. It's a second pillar of our deen, ash-shahada as-salah. There is a literal hadith where the Prophet ﷺ told us that the difference between a Muslim and a kafir is their salah. Now, some scholars take that metaphorically, some take it literally. Either way, that hadith gives us a lot of insight into the importance of this deed. We know that salah is going to be the first thing that we are questioned about on Yawm al-Qiyamah. With that being such a heavy toll on the Day of Judgment, why would we not work hard to make sure that we're getting our salah in order? Now, where do I think you should get started if you are trying to be someone who prays their 5 salah? The first thing I will say is it is empirical to start with adopting a no-nonsense approach to this. You need a no-nonsense attitude. So what do I mean by this? When I say adopt a no-nonsense attitude, I want you to really get a sense of what it means for you not to pray. Like, really zero in on it. Go to that fact with a critical lens. If you are someone who's not praying, well, what kind of Muslim does that make you? What kind of person in general does that make you? How does that affect your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What kind of risk are you running? I want you to really approach this situation with that level of reality. Because if you approach it with a sense of, oh, it's fine, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful, you are not going to push yourself to actually do what you need to do. If you're someone who's already been falling off of your salah, obviously somewhere in your brain there's a disconnect between the importance of it and your ability to perform it. So it's time to switch that up and really emphasize the importance of it. Something that's really helpful to do is to turn this into an identity crisis. Think about who you are and then who is the ideal version of you. And notice that disconnect. The ideal version of you, if you are Muslim, it doesn't matter where you're from in the world, or what you do for a career. The ideal version of any Muslim is someone who prays their 5 salah with khushu'. Point blank, period. We know this as a point of fact. If you can recognize that there is such a strong disconnect between that version of you and the version you are now, and create enough tension inside of you where you're like, oh my God, I really need to level up and I should feel guilty about this, you are going to kind of force yourself into at least a first step of emotional action, which is recognizing that there's something wrong and I need to do something about it. So adopt that no-nonsense approach. Stop giving yourself excuses. Stop saying, I'm going to start tomorrow. Stop it and really recognize what it is that you are representing yourself as in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by neglecting this duty. This is not to guilt trip you or to make you feel horrible, but the reality is guilt is a part of our deen. Shame is a part of our deen. There's a reason for that. It's supposed to protect us from doing things that are wrong and push us to do things that are proper and appropriate and in line with our faith. So utilize that as a tool to get you closer. Now, the second step to getting yourself to pray your 5 salah is to treat salah as a non-negotiable. Now, obviously, salah is a non-negotiable when it comes to a religious sense, but when I say treat it as a non-negotiable, I mean treat it as if it was like other non-negotiables in your life. Example, if you know someone who is a complete gym addict, they will not miss a day in the gym because they absolutely love it. They treat that as a non-negotiable. It doesn't matter if it's finals time. It doesn't matter if they worked a 12-hour shift. It doesn't matter how exhausted they are. They are going to figure out a way to go get that workout in. What is that thing for you? Now, what if you treated salah like that? Think of it as a complete non-negotiable. Other things that are non-negotiables is the need to eat or the need to use a bathroom. Now, this is a non-negotiable for health reasons. If you don't eat, you're going to starve to death. If you don't go use the bathroom, well, you're going to end up with a kidney infection and possibly die. But the point I'm trying to make with those two things that are bodily functions is if you neglect that and you try to negotiate your eating, if you stopped eating for 3 days, your body is going to force you back to food. It is going to ring the alarms and force you to feel hunger and feel exhausted and feel dizzy until you get yourself back to food. If you treat salah like a non-negotiable, you are going to quite literally have those physiological effects where you feel agitated, anxious, nervous. Oh my God, it's salah time and I haven't prayed yet. Or, oh my gosh, I'm stuck somewhere and I don't know where to pray. You are going to start having that experience. And that's important because that is what's going to keep you praying during those times when you kind of don't want to stop what you're doing to pray, to get your mind right. What about the practical side of things? So here's a challenge that I have for you. Start with the first 30 days. It can be overwhelming to think about starting to pray 5 times a day for the rest of your life when you haven't been doing it, or you haven't been able to sustain it long enough to see yourself doing it. So how about this? How about you start with the first 30 days? You pick 1 or 2 salah. And this kind of depends on where you're at too. So if you're someone who may be able to pray 4, but you're praying late or whatever it is, you pick either 1 or 2 salah and start with that. Every single day, I am going to pray Dhuhr and Maghrib on time for 30 days. And you are going to treat it as a non-negotiable. If you need to put alarms on your phone, if you need someone else who in your house who prays to remind you, you are going to make it a non-negotiable. And every day for 30 days, you are going to do that. You're going to do it. When you get to the end of that 30 days, you've locked in a habit. And you are going to start noticing, hey, that actually wasn't that hard. Realistically, that only took me like 4 minutes total, right? Now you're going to do another 30 days. I think we really do ourselves a big disservice when we assume that Salah is supposed to be always this romanticized, exciting thing, and it's this connection between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when we do that, if it does not feel that way every single time, or even at least one time, it can feel like we failed the mission. It can feel like it's something so intimidating. And the reality is Salah is a metaphysical act. So regardless of if you are experiencing the peace inside of you while praying or not, it is still changing your heart. It is still having a metaphysical effect. It is still you connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's still you checking off that box of a requirement that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave. If you are coming to it tired and not really feeling it, that's okay. That's fine. That's in fact, the fact that you're even coming to it despite not feeling it is in and of itself a huge win. Don't beat yourself up. If you need to treat Salah like a chore for however long, then treat Salah like a chore. That's okay, because there's steps to it. You're not going to, if you haven't prayed in 5-10 years, how could you ever expect realistically that you are going to have this amazing spiritual experience during your first Salah? It's not realistic. Our hearts take time. When your heart has been deprived of Salah, your heart hardens. This is all in a metaphysical sense. Your heart hardens. So it's going to take time for Salah to be able to chip through that hardened heart and open it back up to where you're able to receive that peace and that feeling that deep connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't beat yourself up right now. You're just trying to get through the weeks of getting the routine in. And now it's next. Now guys, I'm going to take a quick pause here to say that if you are benefiting from this video, if you like it, if you feel like other people are going to benefit from this video, then please do me a favor and smash that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm going to be doing more of this content, inshallah. And share with people. You never know who is going to see this video and start praying and benefiting because you liked that button and was able to get it out to more people. Start taking a bit of time to learn what it is that you're saying. Now, even Arabic speakers like me, sometimes I find myself not fully paying attention to what I'm saying during Salah. And when you stop to actually realize the words that you're reciting in Arabic, it can be really profound. You're like, I'm saying these things, but I'm not fully here, despite how amazing these words are. Even the basic Surah Fatiha, right? Take the time to learn what you are actually reciting and make it a point, every now and then you're actually really thinking about those words as you're praying. This is an exercise in khushu', by the way. Khushu', for those of you guys who don't know what it is basically the art of supreme focus and connection in your Salah. The next thing I want you to really focus on is your dua. Now, obviously, when you're praying in Salah, there's the aspect of Salah that is mandatory. It's obviously takbirat al-haram, your recitation of Surah Fatiha, going to the Quran, getting up from the ruku', all these things are required. But then there are those bits and pieces that Allah allows us to customize in our Salah. Dua is one of them. One of the best times to make dua is in your sujood. So when you are face down on the floor and you are in your Salah, take the time to start asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for whatever it is that you need. And we're all in need of very similar things, but then there are things that are more personal to our life. And most importantly, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before your Salah, before you start this journey, and during your Salah, to make you steadfast on this journey. So take the time to do that. Thinking about if you want to make a list of your du'as and you can keep it on a note card next to your place of prayer, that is going to be super, super helpful. Now, the next tip I've got for you is create a space that incentivizes you to pray. This is very straightforward. Literally designate a space in your room, in your home, somewhere where you are going to place a prayer mat, and that is a place to pray. When you have a particular environment set up for a certain task, you are much more likely to achieve that task because you don't have to think about pulling out a prayer mat and figuring out where to pray. You already have it set up. So the next tip is going to be, after you have completed that 30 days, you're going to look back and you're going to realize that there were times where it was easier for you to pray than others. This is your research, your analysis of this experiment that you just did. When you start noticing that there are certain things getting in the way of you praying, figure out ways to cut out those barriers. So if you're a woman who doesn't wear hijab and you find that, oh my gosh, I'm out and about and it's time to pray, but I don't have my hijab on me, then you carry a Salah outfit in your bag, in your car, in your purse, whatever it might be. I'm probably not going to fit in your purse, but you get the point. Figure out what those barriers are and start inserting intervention to prevent them from happening. This is a huge tip for success really in anything, right? The last thing I will say is, after all is said and done, once you have mastered the 5 Salah and you are praying them on time and it is a non-negotiable for you, get comfortable praying in public, because reality is there is going to be a point in time where you are going to be outside, out of your house, and you're going to need to pray. When I was 16 years old, I was taking a college course through my high school. And this college class started 10 minutes after Maghrib entered. Then it went all the way through to Isha time. So I had to pray Maghrib in that 10-minute window or I was going to miss it. Now, I'm a 16-year-old at a college campus. I'm nervous. I'm shy. Yes, there were a lot of Muslims there, but I didn't really know where to pray. I didn't even know if there was a prayer area on the campus. And so I had to get comfortable with praying. And I remember, this is embarrassing to say because this is not my experience anymore, but I would find a corner to pray and I would put down a folder in front of me, and when I was praying, if someone came up, I would like flip open that folder and pretend like I was looking at it. Obviously they know something's up because nobody's standing like this looking at a folder, but it just got to a point where I realized I was feeling so much shame and embarrassment having to pray in public, and I was just like, I shouldn't feel this way. I'm a Muslim. I'm doing what God commands me. I'm literally the one fulfilling the obligation. I'm the one doing what's right. Everyone else around me is the one who's neglecting it, not me. So I shouldn't be so afraid that they're looking at me weird. And I just made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I just asked Allah, oh Allah, like, make it easy for me because I don't want to neglect this responsibility of mine because I'm so nervous. And subhanAllah, something just clicked after that day where that anxiety and nervousness that I had previously felt was gone. This is truly the power of dua. So I hope that story is inspirational to you guys. You might find yourself in a similar situation. You guys, if you got even an ounce of benefit from this video, then please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really helps me out. Be a part of the Sadaqah Jariyah, and comment below if you are someone who's struggling. Tell me about your struggle. What's keeping you from Salah? How can I help? Let's create a community where we're able to benefit one another and help each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hit subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time.